What is up, guys? It's your boy Jarod and Gabby. We are back for another episode of the Kicks and Shit Show. Gabby, you know it's coming. What is going on in those September streets? Ooh.
I cannot believe it's September. I don't know how we got here. It was like May, like 3 minutes ago.
No, you know what happened? It was March when we were on lockdown. It was COVID, and then it was like, all right, I guess it's September now. That's like what I feel like happened.
I went out yesterday, right, because I went for my jog and I went for a walk with my ankle weights, as you know I typically do. I haven't worn them in a while, so it's like time to dust them off a little bit. And let me tell you, pumpkin spice is everywhere. Halloween candy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I can be a basic G sometimes, but I do not like pumpkin spice. Don't at me. I have heard, though, that the pumpkin cold brew with the cold foam or some shenanigans like that. I mean, you know I should only be allowed a certain amount of coffee anyway.
Yes, you already drink too much coffee, and you're already too high on life as it is. Yeah, this whole pumpkin spice, nope, out on that. By the way, that nope reminded me of something. I don't know if you watched the show on Amazon called Goliath with Billy Bob Thornton. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but there's one of his colleagues. Her name is Patty Solis Papazian. And whenever anybody tries to pronounce her name, I mean, it's not that hard when you think about it, right? Solis Papazian. All right. They're always like, Patty Solis Nope. Like, she just immediately, nope, not it. Like, it's like,
I'm a big fan of that word.
Yeah, nope is a good one, right? And so when I hear pumpkin, that's nope, not it.
I mean, I kind of agree with you. I made some avocado toast the other day, and as much as I want to hate it, it's so good and so satisfying. But I'm all with you on the nope. So whenever anyone calls me Gabriel,
nope.
Which I don't understand.
Gabriel. Well, here's the thing. If they see you and call you Gabriel, I'm like, what?
Or Gabrielle, I'm like, I don't understand. And I'm like, nope. Nope. Gabriel Rosenthal? Nope.
Wait, and the best thing, you sit there, you're just like, nope, but you don't correct them, you don't tell them who you're like, nope, and you just sit there like, you're basically waiting for them to give you the dignity of, be a professional, and figure out how to pronounce my name, which is not that difficult, right? Like,
that's usually why I go by Gabby. I mean, I don't know why we have to make things overcomplicated.
Well, speaking of making things complicated or overcomplicated, you know, there was an interesting article, Gabby, in the Wall Street Journal citing, are you too old to wear cool shoes? Now, it's such an interesting headline. And, you know, I mean, we work in media, like, and news, little inside info for all you folks out there. When people like me or Gabby write an article, you know that we don't pick the headline, right? Like, we write it. Our editor comes back with whatever their notes are. I need you to source this more. I need more, whatever here, blah, blah, blah. Then it gets sent down, and they pick the titles, right? Like, we have no control over that. It's just, we may send a suggestion in, but I can count on my hand the amount of times a suggestion actually made the full title. Like, it's a whole different process. Anyway, titles are meant to, like, get you sort of like, what? And, like, you know, get you to freak out and click on the article, right? That's the whole point. I will say this. You know, age is a mindset, not really a number. You know, if you look good, hey, and you feel good, rock what you want to rock. I do, however, think it gets to a certain stage, like in your life, where, all right, like, I'm not rocking shoes like that. Right? There's a reason they don't make light up kids shoes for adults, right? Because, like, that shit's stupid. Like, I mean,
they should. Just saying.
So you want a pair of light up kids? That's what I should.
I mean, maybe not kids, but like I want some like BK Diamond from back in the day. Some LA Lights, LA Gear. Yes, please sign me up for that.
Do you remember do you remember when I sent you that picture of the LA Gears version of the pumps that I got when I was, because I was like, we're not buying you $100 pair of Reebok pumps. Here are these LA Gear bootleg ass versions.
I'm just waiting for Skechers to come out with a pair of them, because Skechers seems to be like all about coming out with the trends. They just launched a pair of running shoes that look like the Hokas with that same extra thick sole. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I told you, my parents rock Skechers all the time. My dad just picked up a fresh pair of Adidas. So I know this comes into the whole, are you too old to wear certain brands of sneakers? And the Wall Street Journal article talks a lot about Nike and Adidas specifically. But The short answer is no, and worst case scenario, if they're not in your budget, I'm sure Skechers has a nice juice for you with that memory foam insole.
Well, here's the you're wild. Here's the thing, though, right? Like, you brand wise, no, you're never too old to wear any brand because every brand has a quote unquote dad or old person shoe, right? Shout out Nike Tanjune. Shout out, right? Like, there's just these certain looks that anybody can pull. It's like, all right, you can rock those. Now, I will say though, there are certain things that, I don't know if it's an age thing. If I was younger, I would have done it either. But some of them are just a little too funky, and right, it's like, all right, like that is not really my bag, like, you know. But I don't know if it's an age thing as much as it is a style selection thing. But it could be an age thing. I don't know.
I don't know though. I mean, I've sent you him before, and we're going to show a picture of him now up on the screen for you guys to see. If you're listening in, check out our YouTube. But I love Grandpa, who's on Complex all the time.
With the
Mr. JD, with his fly ass fits. He has every release. Everything. And I just, you know what? Like, he's who I want to be when I grow up.
He's got the Grateful Dead's SB Dunk.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Has like some fly streetwear photos. Every launch, the sickest fits. Like, I don't know. I mean, he's kind of goals, and his hair is white.
Let me ask you this question. All right. Let me ask you. If Mama and Papa Rosenthal rolled up to your apartment to take you out to dinner in SB Dunk Grateful Dead, would you be like, what are you doing?
I mean, my mom called me to tell me that she loved the Chunky Dunkies, so I wouldn't be shocked. I was like, Mom, you're like 3 hours too late to even try, but appreciate the nod. I don't know. I would feel a lot of different emotions. I would feel very confused, but also excited and proud, but mostly confused. And I would be like, who sent you fake sneakers because there's no fake pants on them? But also like, you know what? Respect, Mom and Dad. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if my dad ever showed up in chunky dunks, I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, you look ridiculous. Take those things off.
It depends on the full fit, though. You know what I mean? Like, if my dad were to put on the Grateful Dead with a pair of khakis, then maybe we're going to have some beef. You know, and no offense to khakis. It's my dad's generation, you know. But, I mean, he was very keen on showing me how he had the Adidas socks with the Adidas sneakers the other day. Sent me a photo.
You sure did.
The day before, and I'm going to put my dad on blast here because it's the same thing to him, and I would, just so you know, this is not just directed towards you whenever I have this critique. My dad was in a Nike t-shirt the day before, and I was like, Dad, you cannot tell me how proud I should be that your socks match your sneakers when you were rocking a Nike shirt with the same sneakers the day before. But I am proud. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm proud. We're learning. It's baby steps. You know what I mean? The fact that he's in Adidas already, I'm like...
The brand, and we talked about this before, the brand connecting is actually, depending on what you're doing, right? If you're just going out in the streets, whatever, like, it's easy to, like, make sure you got all your stuff on. But, like, as you know, I've started to, I'm making a comeback. I've dusted off the golf clubs after, how long's it been? 7 years or so, right? Now, there's a challenge there, right? Because my golf shoes, and these aren't even, like, fresh kicks, but, like, and these are my golf shoes from 7 years ago. They're just Nike, golf shoes. Okay, so it's fine. I usually wear my Nike polo or Nike hat, whatever. Man, Puma's got some dope stuff. But now I gotta go out and buy a bunch of Puma polos and a Puma hat and Puma pants.
I mean, do you rock Izod? Like, what about some of these Callaway brands? Like some of these other more like
golfy brands?
Like a regular polo shirt. Like,
wait,
you
I'm sorry. Did you say Wrangler polo?
No, a regular
polo.
Oh,
I was like, ain't nobody wearing no Wrangler.
All right, relax, Brett Favre, okay? We're not talking about Wrangler over here on the KNF.
Hey, nobody rocking Wranglers over here.
No,
Jesus,
but
I just kicked the table. I'm so
very excited. I see that. I don't know. I think if I were to go golf shoes right now, and I have a very high handicap, I would go for Air Max ones because I think as fire as the Jordans are.
Yeah.
I love me an Air Max 1, I think those are just really nice and clean looking.
Yeah.
But Puma's doing some cool stuff with golf.
Puma's got some nice stuff. If I were, here's the thing. If you're going to go on the golf course and not play well like I will, at least you got to look fly, right? I mean, that's how that goes. So my ideal pair, and it's them Jordan 11 Concord lows. But you know, StockX got them for like, I don't know, like $500. I was like, you people are nuts. Ain't nobody buying that in no secondary market. Like,
You never know.
I might have to reach out to some folks, touch some people.
Invest in yourself, Jarod. Invest in yourself. Or you can do what I do, play the stock market and just say what you think and watch them, watch it ebb and flow, and then, you know, maybe you'll accidentally get a pair.
Wait, bid like our Price is Right. Be the last person? $1. Wait, that's the crazy part though. The $1 one's all right because you know that one's coming. Is when the person bids like for the showcase 1,000 and someone bids like 1,300 or whatever, and then a person bids 980, and then it's like 981, and you're like mother effer. Like it's just like that's the one that gets you. You're like, damn.
Or the person that bids $1 above you. So if you bid 1,000 on the showcase, and I'm like 1,001, please. Hey, ass bitch.
With all that attitude too, you're like. God.
You have to do it with attitude though. If you're gonna be that level of petty, own it. In every aspect of your life. You know what I mean? Like, I know we talk about Kanye and Yeezys. I love that level of Kanye pettiness, though. I'm here for the show, you know? Like, what did he say about Virgil when Virgil went to Louis, right?
Yeah.
He was like, I can't believe Virgil went to Louis and didn't talk to me about it. That was always my dream. Just kidding. My dream was Gap. Okay. All right, Kanye. Whatever your dream was, I'm here for the quote.
Just kidding. My dream was Gap.
Mm-hmm.
That is a fire line. And on that note, stay tuned, folks, because we have a special guest coming up. What kind of hint can we give about this guest? I
mean, I want to sing some Big Sean lyrics, like.
It's not Big Sean. Calm down, people.
No. But you know, I always take an L. Sometimes I bounce back. Sometimes I don't.
That's an.
I'm feeling really lyrical today.
Oh, let's see. You're okay. That's a good one. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back. What's up, y'all? Jarod and Gabby, we are back, and we're not alone, as promised. It's not Big Sean, but it is our man Kari, a.k.a. Lyrical Fetish. Gabby, you want to tell them why people might have thought he was Big Sean?
Well, because, as you know, as I said in the last segment, your girl is always taking L's on sneaker apps, so we are here to hook you guys up with some great tips on how to maybe take a few less L's so you can bounce back a little faster. We're excited.
So, Kari, thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate it. How did you sort of get started in sneakers? Give us your journey into the sneaker culture.
Oh, man. Appreciate you guys having me, first of all. Really appreciate it. Oh, my goodness. I think that my journey, my first, time I really looked at a shoe and did the double take was I couldn't have been any more than about 6 or 7 years old. I remember it was 93. So I guess that tells you how old I am.
You a young buck. Damn.
Yeah, it was 93. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was it was like a mixtape, and it was called NBA Jam Session. And I was really getting into basketball, and I was a Genesis kid, all of that. So me and my stepdad, we watched this mixtape, and that's where I first started looking. Like, I was like, man, because it was incredible the way they had these guys looking. They had the music. I remember that was the first time I heard "Don't Sweat the Technique." And I was like, man, this is crazy. And that's when I really started taking a look, like, these shoes are cool that these guys are wearing. And, after that, the love just grew, man. We were one of the kids, like, I was a Payless kid, So I looked at the kids like, man, what are those on your feet? Like, I didn't have them. I did a video about the Flint 13s and why they were so special because the first pair I ever put on my feet were two sizes too big, and a kid had thrown them away in the garbage, and I fished them out of the garbage just to wear them, just to see what Jordans felt like to wear. Like, that's how much I loved them, but we couldn't afford them. So yeah, man, about 7 years old, about 6, 7 years old, man. And ever since then, it's been on.
Yo, first of all, there's so much to unpack in that story.
There's a lot.
One, shout out to Eric B. and the God Rock him. Don't sweat the technique. Second, you tapped into something there, right, that is just so critical. And this is like a kind of a funny thing. First, we're getting to the serious part. The whole, everyone the meme was, what are those, right? Like that whole, like, and generally now we use it because you're clowning somebody because you're like, all right, like, why you got these whack things on your feet, whatever. But nah, you're like, yo, I couldn't afford those shit, so I was like, yo, what are those?
What are those?
Right? And we talked about last segment how when Reebok pumps were popular in the early 90s, my mom and dad were not buying me no $100 pair of sneakers. Like that's not a thing. We go into, you remember that store in New Jersey, Gabby? Marty's Shoe Outlet? Yo,
Jersey girl over here.
So, just quick fun fact. You know, I'm originally from Newark.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Brick
so
City, what?
Brick City, yes sir. So yeah, I remember Marty. That's crazy.
So my mom was like, "Oh, these are some pump shoes over here." I go, "No, Mom, these are LA Gear." Yeah, well, guess what? That's what you getting. And it was like, well,
don't talk about LA Gear though. LA Gear was great. They used to advertise on Double Dare all the time. The BK Diamond Cells in the LA Light.
I was gonna say the British Knights. Listen. Yep. Listen, the black and white British Knights, those are my joints right there.
Fire back in the day.
Well, listen, when your peers are wearing the pumps and you show up in LA, you definitely getting the, what are those, right? Like you are getting clowned for those shoes 100%. But you know, it is what it is. But there was something that is a serious part, like, well, not serious, but it's sort of what Jordans, what it means, like not only within the culture, but the larger culture at large, right? It's sort of like, yo, it's a signifier of something, right? Cool, whatever it is. But the kids that had the fresh J's on every time they came out, you were like, I mean, you know, they were.
I felt like less of a man.
Right. I mean, which of course goes into a larger problem we have in our society about consumerism and all that. Which, you know, that's a conversation for a different day. And I'm glad that we still don't think by those ideals now as an adult, but as a kid, that might mess you up, for real.
Oh, man. I never got the girls, man. I never got the girls. Listen, my first girlfriend I had when I was a sophomore in high school. For real, because I wasn't one of the cool ones, man.
Listen,
I didn't have.
She wasn't trying to rock with you with them faux kicks you had on. But yo, you
Airwalks.
Remember
Airwalks?
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, like, I was the dude with the Jordans in high school, not the dudes that I went to high school with, because I went to private school, so it was like the other way around. But I saw a lot of Airwalks back in the day, and they were vibes too, you know, with like the pop punk music.
Well, you know what's so funny? Gabby's so interesting because, and you know, it's already been talked about. She went to Pingree School, right, which is a private school out in New Jersey, and you know, that's a very different type of cat that goes to that school, right? Generally speaking, parents got a little bit of bread, like, you know, like. Yeah. But here's Gabby, though. It's a very preppy private school, rocking, you know, Jordans. People are looking at her like, what are those on your feet? Like,
Okay. And I feel like she used to make the same face in school back in the day with, like, her lips, you know, like they're kind of pursed on the side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like with the
I'm going to send you a picture after this. It's like a baby picture that I was still making the same face, and my parents were like, we don't know where she came from. She might be from us. Like, she kind of looks like us, but like, why is she wearing basketball sneakers on the tennis court? That was my vibe back in the day. Like, play tennis, I was wearing the Zoom Play, the Nikes. They were the best.
And yeah.
It's something about the sneaker culture, right? And this is, again, it is this conveyance of cool that it provides, right? Like when you have a fresh pair of kicks, and even like now, even if you're not rocking like a pair of J's right now or any kind of like basketball shoe, it's the same idea though when you open up a box and you put on a fresh pair of kicks, though, right? Like when they're fresh and brand new, man, you feel you got a little pep in your step when you walk in. You're like, yeah.
Man, listen, it never fails. Every time, man. To this day, I put on a pair of Uptowns. I put on a fresh white pair. It's over. That's a $90 shoe, you know. And that shoe, I don't care whatever else I got. There's nothing like cracking that box open, man, and slipping them things on. To this day.
No, it's wonderful. So you're out here in the sneaker culture. Talk about a little bit about what you do within the culture in terms of, you know, you preview, you get deep into the weeds.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Now, I when I first decided that I wanted to, you know, really get into it and really take it seriously, I thought about, you know, how I wanted to do it. And for me, man, I've always been a history buff. I love documentaries. I love, you know, all of that. I love digging into the why about everything. Like, one of the biggest YouTubers I always looked up to was Jacques Slade. I still look up to him. And, one thing that he started doing these interviews with all the designers at Nike, the people who were behind the scenes. And when I would hear the stories, I was like, man, like, I don't hear enough of this out here. Like, I want to know more about what's going on behind the scenes. So, no disrespect. I think it's space for everybody. But you guys, those sneakers are so saturated. I wanted to put something fresh into it. And so for me, I wanted to dig into what the inspiration was, what the design was. I'm Googling things. I'm looking into, really the depths of what's happening with these sneakers. And that really became my lane. I started becoming the history guy, So I think that's kind of where I am right now. In the sneaker space, and especially on the YouTube side of things, is that I tend to be the history guy. You come to me because, you're going to know some things that you may not have known about this shoe. And my goal with that is to get people to have a deeper appreciation for the things that we're putting on our feet every day. Like, somebody came up with an idea and an execution. They were an artist. They blood, sweat, and tears over these designs. And in the age of collaboration these days, the stories are getting even deeper and more personal with these people. So I feel like I'm doing them a disservice if I just say these are dope. You know what I'm saying? Or these are not, like, let's tell the stories a little more. So that's kind of where I am now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's something that we talk a lot about on the show is the why. And when you said that, that really resonates with me because especially like as the women's sneaker game has changed so much, I always want to know why. Why is the colorway for women? Tell me the story behind it. Why is this a women's launch versus it being marketing for men's? Why are there sometimes extended sizes and why are there sometimes not? It's why people make the decisions that they do. That to me is what brought me into the culture in the first place. So I love that you get in deep and talk about the history because a lot of people don't know that. I mean, don't get me wrong, dope recognizes dope, but to understand where the shoe is coming from, what the print that's going into it, the love that went into it, whether it's a certain material, even the details inside the sneaker, I mean, I think that's what it's all about.
I agree. I
mean, we often quote, because we're ridiculous on the show, we often quote a movie called The Devil Wears Prada. And in that scene, there's a scene in that movie where Stanley Tucci is talking to, oh God,
Anne
Hathaway. Jesus, what you see, this is it's been a bad week because I can't even names aren't even coming out to my brain. I'm like,
That's what I'm here for. I'm here for the love.
And I appreciate you. And so in the movie, right, Anne Hathaway's character is just sort of like fashion is just this thing, right? Like it's just this, you put on some clothes, it doesn't really matter. But Stanley Tucci goes, no, like this is like someone's like life's work. Like this is a piece of iconography that you're wearing. And he's like, well, not you, not what you wear because she wears crap, right? But like, it is the as you said, the blood, sweat, and tears, and the work and the detail that goes into someone having an idea. I mean, you're wearing art, right? I mean, that is what you're doing. You are wearing art when you put on clothes and sneakers and those kinds of things. And so I love that you have that perspective on it. One of the things that you also do, Kari, is you try to help people figure out how do we navigate this sneaker market. Because, Gabby, as she tells us every week on this show, takes L's. Now, I will say, I limit my exposure to taking L's, so I take less L's, right? Because I don't like the rejection, so I don't even bother, right? Like, Gabby's like, Jarod, you enter like these 17 raffles? I was like, nope.
I feel you.
Not doing it.
Every time. I take it very personally.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I'm right there with you. I take them too. I take L's too.
and so, but I did suffer my own personal L recently. I wanted to get
upset as I was, but God.
Oh yes, I know. I was not as upset as Gabby would have liked me to be, but you know what? But you know why?
This time, that's what it is. I think I'm happy that I am not suffering. Not that I want to suffer or anyone to suffer, but I understand how you feel, and I am here to support you. I just want you to know that.
You know what it is? I went into it being like, this shit ain't happening, no way, right? Like that, right? So
that's what you got to be.
So right, so I already set the lowest of expectations, right? Okay, right. So it's for the Nike Kobe 5 Pro Tour, the What If Undefeated pack, which we know those two pairs of shoes are fire.
They are amazing.
Man, they're crispy and clean, right?
What a story in that pack, man.
Right? And so you fill out the little thing on the Undefeated site, answer the 7 questions about Kobe or whatever, and it's like, all right, like a 7th grader can. I mean, come on, this is baby stuff. All right, cool.
Whose shoe is this?
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, tough one there, right? So anyway, it gets to the thing, cool. You get your 1 entry, only 1 entry per person, whatever. All right. But then it just tells me, not even in an email confirmation. I mean, it did. It's like, all right, you got your entry, but didn't say, well, what time are they going to be letting you know? None of that. I had to go on the site again. Okay, between 9:30 and 12:30 Pacific time is when, or we're going to start letting people know. All right, cool. 9:30 Pacific time is 12:30 East Coast time. Well, how the hell at noon or 11:59 East Coast times, dude's already on Twitter being like, got him, and I'm like,
got the W.
What you mean you got him? It ain't 9:30 on the West Coast yet. What's happening out here?
Part though, that's what I have to say is the worst part when you see the same people who take the W's every time. Got them, and I'm like, I'm still pending. I'm on 37 devices trying to like.
Forget about pending. The raffle said we ain't letting you know till 9:30. It ain't even 9:30 yet.
Early access. Early
access.
So anyway, so I was just like, man, this game is rigged, and I was like, it's all good, whatever. But Kari, talk to the people about the whole raffle and getting access process and sort of what potential hacks you might have for people to get themselves ready.
Let me tell you, man, raffle culture, is bad right now. It's I'm just gonna keep it really 100 with you guys, just like I do on the channel. So raffles as a whole, by and large, probably about 90% of them are completely rigged. They're completely rigged. Now, what's helped a little and what's hurt in some instances is the fact that because of COVID, everything is online. Now, a lot of stuff is virtual. Now, back in the days of raffles, y'all remember we used to go and we used to fill the tickets out and they would pull them out of the hats or whatever like that, and they would do that. Now, I'm going to tell you a true story, but I will redact all of the names from the story. The first time I really started seeing how these raffles really worked, I was spending a lot of money. It was at a Finish Line. I will say the store, but the only reason why I say the store is because they've cleaned house from everybody that was doing what they were doing back then. So Finish Line did it right. So shout out to Finish Line. But back then it was a Finish Line, and I was spending a lot of money. I had some friends that worked there, and so they let me in the back one day to see how they did the raffles. So basically what happened was, the way they would do the raffles was you would separate all the tickets out by size. And the first thing would be like, okay, who are our friends? All right? So friends get first access. Money would get second access. And then the crumbs that were left were for everybody else that they would really raffle, right? So I was friends with the manager. So it was like, okay, I got you, Kari, you're good. I'm a size 9 naturally. So they're like, all right, you're good. Got that. Then, okay, who are the resellers, that are popping up? Who's got the money, putting the money in the pockets of all the retail employees? I tell people, you got to remember, everybody's got StockX on their phone these days, right? Everybody knows what these sneakers are worth, and the gatekeepers, right, the retail employees, they're making a retail employee's salary. They're not making much money, right? So the allure of having all of that money, right, in this sneaker, hey, man, listen, if you help me out with this raffle, I'll give you $200, $300, because they know they're about to go and flip it. It's way too tempting. Okay, I got you. So they would separate those people out as well. And then whoever was left, whatever sizes were left, that would get raffled. So, if you and me are a size 9 and there's one size 9, chances are I would get it, and you're none the wiser, but you were out before you even got in the game. So that's how it goes a lot of times. And a lot of boutiques, they're doing that these days. So raffles are what they are. But, at the same time, I think that we are getting to a point where there are certain things that we can do to try to empower. Empowerment's a popular word these days. To try to empower ourselves, to get a few more W's. So I put together a little video, and, it did really well. It resonated with a lot of people about how, there were my top 10 tips and tricks on the Sneakers app specifically, because Sneakers seems to be that app that people just love to hate, or you hate to love it. You delete it every week and you reinstall it on your phone. You can't get away from it. It just keeps pulling you back in. It's like a bad relationship.
Hell of a drug.
Every time I get out, They pull me back
They pull me back in every time, man. Carlito's way. One more shoot. You know, that's how it is, man. So I was like, listen, I've been there. I get it. So I put together a video, man, and I put together these 10 tips, and I'm going to run through them with you guys, you know, and hopefully everybody watching, you know, can get a little something from it as well. So we'll start at the top. Tip number 1. All right. Tip number 1. And it's going to, so before I get started, actually, it's going to go from really easy to a little harder to kind of some black market stuff that people don't normally do.
I'm here for all of that.
Look, we've gotten to that point. We've gotten to that point. So first tip, I tell people all the time, make sure that the app is completely up to date, right? A lot of times with any app, you know, minor bug fixes means that they're tweaking something inside of that, you know, that may cost you the ability to get it if your app isn't updated. You know, so a lot of people, they take L's just because their app isn't updated yet. They don't turn on automatic updates, right? So that's the first thing. Just make sure that it's up to date. You know, what I like to do, I have iPhone and Android. I'll go in and refresh just in case it didn't automatically update. I'm just making sure, just to be sure, right? So that's my first thing. The second thing, I also tell people make sure that your phone is also up to date as well, right? Phones are getting faster and faster. They have more RAM, they have more memory, they have better chips in them. They're moving quick. We got 5G technology now, all this type of stuff, right? So speed is definitely the name of the game in the sneakers app, right? You got to have all, and we'll get into, you know, other things to be faster. But, you know, if you can, I tell people if you can, like do what you can afford, right? So if you got the best phone, then that you can afford, you know, have the best phone that you can afford. But if you can, I tell people I tend to see more success with iPhones than with Android phones. The reason for that, I don't know what it is about sneakers and Android, but you guys remember it originally came out for iPhone and Android had to wait, that app. So I don't know what they did, but to this day, a lot of times on Android, I notice when a sneaker goes live, it immediately says sold out. And you have to completely log out of sneakers app and then log back in just to see the thing pop up with the price. You're already out of the game.
Done.
A lot of times. You're done at that point, right? So just make sure you know your phone is up to date as well. So that's the second tip. Third tip is your profile information. Now I'm going to give y'all a couple of hacks. Now I'm going to give y'all some secrets today because the profile information, you got to make sure that it's completely filled out, because what a lot of people will do is they'll miss, you know, a street number or a northwest or a south or a direction or, you know, an apartment number or something like that. Nike is very sophisticated in the algorithm. So if your billing and shipping information don't always match, or if your billing information seems off, or if you have the type of card where you haven't cleared the purchase with your bank or anything like that, something goes wrong, Nike isn't always going to tell you what went wrong. They're just going to tell you, oops, something went wrong. Right? So you're going again and again and again, and it could have been something as simple as adding an apartment number, right? Adding a unit number or something like that. So it's just making sure that like the profile is just where it should be, making sure that you have your size set up immediately, and just, you know, again, I tell people it's simple stuff like that, but you would be surprised at like the dumb things that really cost people, you know, these sneakers out here. So that's the third tip. So the fourth tip, I always tell people log out of the app completely, like sign out and then sign back in. Because what that does a lot of times, and you notice this on a daily basis, not even when the drop is happening. So a lot of times when the app refreshes, like on Sneakers app, you know, they do like what you got, they do things, and they're constantly refreshing and updating with new stuff. A lot of times you'll see it faster if you log out of the app and log back in, then and try to refresh until that new thing pops back up. I don't know why it does that, but it's kind of like that mini refresh hitting the reset button every time on the Sneakers app. What it is, but it seems to make things work a little faster. It just kind of refreshes the app. A Nike expert told me that one time too. They were like, uninstall the app and reinstall the app every so often. Just do it every so often. And I was like, okay, you know. And I did start to see a little bit more success when I started doing that. So that's the other thing. Log out 10 to 15 minutes before the drop is supposed to happen. It clears. They call it, what is it? The cache.
Cache. Yeah.
Yeah, it clears all that out, and then you just refresh, you kind of start fresh. Now, you also got to make sure that you put your fingerprint scanner on and all that other, like Face ID, all that kind of stuff on there, because time is money, time is precious. And I think that in the video, in the video, that was actually the next tip. I told everybody, just make sure that you do fingerprint scanner, Face ID. Face ID on iPhone, like, to me, is gold. Like, you hit the button, boom, it's done, it's running. You know, so putting in your password or typing stuff in, it's a wrap. You're done. Like, if you got to type stuff in, it's gonna be tough. So that's that one. Then this is a big one it's still very heavily disputed. What kind of payment service are you using? Are you using debit card, credit card, PayPal, or Apple Pay? Which is right? And you guys will see, like, on social media, whenever a drop happens and people are bragging about it, oh, I got it. One of the main questions that you see people ask is, how did you pay? Did you use Apple Pay? Did you use PayPal? Did you use this? Did you use that? So what I tell people is PayPal and Apple Pay, to me, are the best. I try my best not to go straight debit or credit card because there's just too much that can happen. It's too easy. Like, for me, I live in small town Huntsville, Alabama, right? So one of my bank accounts is a credit union here. The chances are very high that they're going to flag a lot of purchases that I try to make on the internet. So I don't go straight through my debit card. I'll use PayPal because that's a trusted source, you know? So I use PayPal and Apple Pay. Now, personally, what I've personally seen, I have had more success using PayPal than Apple Pay. And to me, it just is fast. When I log in, you know, and when I'm trying to get a shoe, all I want to do is hit one button, it scans my face, and we're off to the races. Even using Apple Pay, you got to double click that side button. Mm-hmm. To me, that's too many presses. That's too many clicks. Like, I just scan my face and let's run it. So that's a big...
You're talking milliseconds here. Though even milliseconds matter.
Listen, milliseconds matter out here. They really, really do. So I try to do what I can fast as I can. Next tip that I did, Twitter is a beautiful place for information. There are key accounts on Twitter that I follow that, they tweet out link. I'm just going to be really, really honest. And this is free promo for these guys. Soul Links. Mm-hmm. Soul Links on Twitter got me the Union Jordan 4s. Wow. This past.
Okay.
They really did, because they tweeted the link out first. So when you turn on notifications for Soul Links, Sneaker Twitter, or J23 app, J23 app like reigns supreme for all Jordan. When you turn on notifications for those guys, and then if you download their apps as well, J23's app and Soul Links' app, oh man, like those, I don't know who runs, I don't know these guys that are behind it, but they do an incredible job with having monitors and really getting the information out to the people. So shop drops used to be a thing. I don't know what in the world is going on now with exclusive access, but when we used to do shop drops, that's how a lot of people were able to get them, was because J23 app would send a push notification to everybody like, hey, just dropped, and a lot of people would be able to get it. So if you're not getting notifications, and it's annoying to people's phones sometimes because you're getting all these notifications on a bunch of stuff you don't want to buy. But when that gem comes in, a lot of people are really glad at that point that they got the notification from those Twitter accounts. So that's the big thing, to turn on those Twitter accounts. The next thing that I told people, in the Sneakers app, right, you have the notify me button for whatever you want. I tell people Sneakers app, and I actually talked to somebody, she'll also remain nameless, but I talked to a young woman that actually used to code for the Sneakers app. She worked for Nike. And she told me the algorithm gets confused when people hit notify me on every single shoe. And that's what a lot of people were doing. They would hit notify me on every single sneaker. And the point of the Sneakers app and the data that Nike collects from that app is to really hone in to give people access to the stuff that they really want out here. So if you're a skateboard enthusiast, they want to give you access to the SBs and the Dunks out here. Well, Nike's not going to know really specifically what you're into if you're just saying, well, notify me of every single thing that comes out. I love it all. Because nobody loves everything from ballet to, skateboarding, right? You got to hone in on something. And that's why when you first set up your Nike app, your Sneakers app, they ask you, what are you into? Tell us about yourself. Are you into baseball, basketball, football? Like, who are your teams? And if you notice, you get a lot of things that are contoured to your specific preferences, right? From when you set up. I tell people, listen, your chances of getting product on sneakers started when you started your account. When you first set up your account and you gave them your preferences, men's versus women, stuff like that, that you were already setting yourself up. A lot of people were mad. What's up? Oh, yeah, you, right?
About that, actually.
Exactly.
I've been taking notes over here, by the way, so if I'm looking down, I'm like, who am I following? I'm setting up my notifications on Twitter. Yeah, I'm busy working over here while you're talking because this is amazing. I go back and forth on this all the time because most of the sneakers are men's sizes. But right now, in terms, because of sometimes I buy clothing at Nike as well, I right now have it as a woman's size. Am I taking myself out of the running for some of the unisex launches because of that? I mean, or should I change it every time? I mean, I wonder about this in general. Yeah. Especially now as more sneakers have both sizes, men's and women's on the box.
Right.
Does it matter?
Not necessarily, yeah. So as they're moving to try to do more unisex type of clothing and sneakers, you know, I don't think that like swapping between the two matters as much. I think what mattered is what you initially said when you first started your account. And I'm going to guess that when you first created your Nike Plus ID, you put that you were a female and that you were interested in women's clothing and shoes. I don't know, maybe I don't know.
Interested in men's clothing and shoes, to be honest with you, just because, because that's usually I found, and Nike's done a great job, and they've come a long way, especially Jordan Brand as well, where everything used to be pink and purple that came out for women, and that's, I mean, I dress like this pretty much 90% of the time. I wore color in our last week's episode, and I almost broke the damn internet. Yeah, I mean, I put men's as my preference just because I find the colorways are better for both sneakers and clothing. Right. But now it says female, so I don't know if I'm like...
No, I don't think you're confusing it because at the end of the day, they're also tracking your purchases. And you buy clothing and shoes, right? Nike stuff, clothing and shoes. So if they see you buying women's clothing, right, and they see you buying more women's products, then the algorithm is going to say this is probably a woman. So, you know, what her size is, and, you know, may fluctuate, but this is probably a woman. So they're going to, prime example, Off-White 4 exclusive access, right? Guys were furious about that drop because they wanted the shoe, and 99% of the access went to women, right?
Interesting.
And if you notice,
most of the people I know that got them were men.
Yeah.
Now, for the exclusive access, or?
No, I mean, the exclusive access, I think I know one person who got it. It was a female, but yeah, I agree. I think it's nice that Nike and Jordan are starting to do more of that with the early launches. They did that with the, the UNC ones as well that were the women's, the patent, which I thought was really cool.
They sure did. And I like seeing it myself. Yeah, I knew a few people, everybody I knew that got the access, they were women. And I was really impressed with that because it's been a problem for a long time, you know, so it seems like somebody out there is finally paying attention. I'm here for that. I'm a fair guy, you know, like I'm one of those guys that's like, let the women eat. I did a video about that. I talked about the off-white Tigers, the women's collection. And I think I named the video like, let women have their shoes or something like that. Like, it's a big thing for me.
We're not worth it.
I mean, I'm with you, Kari, because I say that to Gabby all the time. When the sale fours came out, I was like, these aren't, like, this is for women, like, whatever. Like, so I actually entered the raffle with her size to get them for her, right? I was like, this isn't a men's launch. This is for ladies. Like, it's cool. Like,
exactly.
I mean, we both lost, but it was very much appreciated.
I feel that. I did too. So hey, listen, I get it, you know, but yeah, that's a big thing, man, for me. It's, oh my gosh, yeah, I want us to do better. I see it getting a lot better. I remember there was an event that I went to. It was a Jordan Brand event that I went to in Atlanta. It was at Ama Meniere boutique. And the guy, I actually really admire the guy that owns that boutique. His name is James Whitner. Man, incredible dude. But anyway, so we're at this thing, and this woman is really talking about, I want to see more women's drops from Jordan Brand. And they were like, we hear you, we hear you, we hear you. They put her on the seating list for Jordan Brand with a note that was like, thank you. We appreciate your input. We hear you. And they sent her the women's OG when it came out, the white and black.
That's awesome.
You know? And I was like, man, they're really paying attention out here. So it does seem like it's getting better, finally.
Yeah, you know, we like a lot of brands out here. We have friends at a lot of brands, but we have been really taking notice of what Jordan Brand's been doing. So, again, shouts to Jordan Brand, President Craig Williams, and all the good folks over at Jordan Brand doing really good stuff over there, especially for the ladies. We are going to be back with a special Cop or Drop. Or no, is it Cop or Drop, or are we doing Shoe and Tell? I don't even know what we're doing. Shoe and Tell, I think, will be better. Shoe and Tell. Because I know you've got some heat that you want to show up. I'm not even participating in Shoe and Tell. This is gonna be a Gabby and a sneaker fetish, aka lyrical fetish thing.
Oh boy!
I'm just gonna sit back and let y'all show off some kicks.
Oh
so,
man!
Stay tuned. What's up, guys? Your boy Jarod, your girl Gabby, and our guest, lyrical fetish, aka sneaker fetish, Kari. He's back. Now he was talking last time about tips that we can all use to hack and get ourselves ahead, because you know these L's, whoo, they mountain out here.
Yeah.
He didn't finish all of them, but you guys go to the Sneaker Fetish YouTube page. We'll put the links in the show notes, and you can watch the rest of those tips. You're gonna find some good stuff, some black market stuff, maybe. I don't know.
Just a little.
A little bit. Now it's time for America's #1 segment, Shoe and Tell. Listen,
I like
this Shoe and Tell, I ain't even doing shit. So I'm gonna let you two rock with it since he is our guest. All right, you go first and show your first pair.
Dope. Okay. All right. First pair I'm gonna show. Very special pair. This pair was gifted to me by a good friend of mine that's in sneakers. She's an OG. Triple OG. Her name is Jazzaray Allen Lord.
Oh, we know Jazzaray.
This is her Reebok Classic. You guys can see she actually autographed my box for me to David and all that kind of stuff. This pair, I believe this is my pair. I bought a pair and then she gifted me these to make sure I support it. But this is her It's a Man's World campaign sneakers that she designed, a bunch of female designers, really, really fly collection. And the point of the collection, as you guys very well may know, is that they wanted to do something that was for women, directed towards women, designed by women, but wasn't shrink it and pink it, like we talked about, right? Like natural colors, neutral colors like this, you know? The insole was my favorite part. It was this drawing on one insole. The other sole, it was a long thought out, like a note that she wrote on there. It's her sons on here, her friends, family. It's such a thoughtful shoe. So yeah, this is my first one. This was really, really special to me. I appreciate it.
Those are great. Those sold out quick too.
Oh yeah, they sold out. Yeah.
I like the story behind that. You're a storyteller, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Shouts to Jazzy. Those are fire.
Yeah, shouts to Jazzy. We got to get her on the show.
Yeah, they're dope. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, is it my go again, or is it Gabby's go?
No, it's Gabby's go.
Oh, okay. Well, I only want to show because I'm really excited about these, and we were talking about this a little offline. I'm a big fan of KD before he decided to go to Brooklyn, but I'm a big fan of...
No hate.
I think it is... Knicks fan, my heart is still broken, and I am slow to recover. That's all.
Listen, we talk about this all the time. If that organization gets their shit together, you'll be all right.
Facts. That's facts.
We gonna be all right. But I do love a good KD basketball shoe because not only are they beautiful, they're light. They're not too light though. Like they're a little heavier than the Paul Georges. Like so you feel like you have like a solid sole on them. I would rock these for tennis even today because you all know I love basketball sneakers for tennis. But it's light, the mids look great, and I think the styles and the colorways have always been amazing, and the cushioning in the sole is like none of the others under the Nike and Jordan umbrella, in my opinion. So I have been eyeing these for a long time, and as you know, because I've mentioned it 37 million times in the past few episodes, it was recently my birthday, so I had to get myself a present, and I got myself I like the Versace details with the chains on them, with the laces that have a nod to the colorway. They're just really light, comfortable, super squishy. Big fan. Very happy that these were still available, which, like I said, I think KD is a shoe that kind of flies under the radar, but definitely something to pay attention to, especially if you're looking for something that's a little more comfortable than a Jordan. Big fan.
Yeah.
You took words right out of my mouth. Like, people are going crazy over I'm sorry, Jordan 1s are a little uncomfortable to me. You got to stop insoles on them.
True, but comfortable, yeah.
You know what I mean? But like the KDs, super comfortable and they're functional, right? You're playing them and you can wear them casual. And when I saw those on the sneakers app, I was like, okay, right, KD, I see you.
The hype. Okay, Gabby, we see you. Well, it's funny, you know, think about it though, right? As the history person, Kari, Jordan 1s were made, what, in 84?
Yeah, 85? Starting off, yeah.
KDs were made in what? Well, those particularly 2019, I think shoe technology got a little bit better between 1984 and now, right? So that air zoom structure and all that, which is what they use in the KDs. That's why it's so soft and billowy, right? And you're like, okay. And it's not as heavy a shoe as the LeBron. The LeBron shoe is heavy. That's real heavy.
That's a bulky shoe.
But he's a big dude, so I get it.
Exactly. No, that's a good one. How much time do we have? Can I do one more?
Yeah, I got one more.
Yeah, you can do one more.
Okay. All right. So this one, I'm just gonna go straight to my Grails. So these are my number one. I put a video up about it, and I literally almost cried when I did the video. It's crazy. So, little short backstory. So when I was a kid, 1999, I was 13 years old. My mom had gotten divorced. And so, you know, we were going through the single mom thing, and we went to this store. I was into sneakers and everything, and I saw a pair of shoes. And I really, really wanted them. And I didn't even realize that they were like rare at the time or like exclusive or whatever. I want them. My mom put them on layaway. We couldn't afford to get them out. So 20 years later, fast forward, I'm on eBay shopping around, and I see somebody on eBay, a collector with a warehouse somewhere in Montana somewhere. He has the shoe. He has my size. And they're dead stock. They're brand new. I didn't care what the price was. I blew a bag on that shoe. And that's this shoe here. So you guys see, this is the OG Jordan box here.
I know it.
This one here is the Jordan 14 mid Carolina blue.
I like it.
Not the low top, the mid top white and Carolina blue. It's a rare, very, very rare shoe, and really hard, damn near impossible to find it. So to have these in my collection, like it closed. It was a full circle moment for me. It's like, y'all, I keep them like I have the bubble wrap, the plastic.
I love it, man.
These don't even in the sneaker closet. They're under my bed. Under my bed, literally. They're in a separate place. So yeah, these are my babies. These are the ones I'm gonna go out on for today.
Kari, you know what's so interesting that you brought those out, and I want to make sure you understand what I'm saying. It isn't so much about the shoe itself, as much as it is about the acquisition of memory and what you were able to do because you couldn't afford to, like, that's what it was about. It was about my mom was trying to do this thing for me. She's a single mom, like, because you brought those stories in that up because that's why it mattered, right? It was what she was going through and what you were going through, and not having the money and to be able to, her being like, "Oh, let me put this on layaway," but damn, I can't get it out, right? It is an emotion you're tapping into, right? I mean, they always say buying's an emotional thing, right? That's why those shoes mean so much to you, because you remember where you were and you're looking at where you're at now, right? And that's a beautiful story. You almost got me tearing up on this damn show.
No, man, don't do it. Yeah, those are my Grails. Those are my babies right there.
That's amazing. Those are great.
Yeah.
Man, that's a hell of a story, Kari. We appreciate you coming out, man. Tell the people, I mean, they can see the little logo underneath you where you're at, but tell the people again about your YouTube channel and where else they can find you.
Yeah, definitely. The YouTube is SneakerPhetish. You know, it's a great channel. If any of you guys are watching that already subscribed, thank you. I think we just hit 13K or something like that. So we're family over there, man. So that's the page, SneakerPhetish. On Instagram, the name is Lyrical Fetish over there. So that's where you can find me. Fetish with a PH.
Are you a rapper too? Is that why you're Lyrical Fetish?
So fun fact before we go. I used to be. I used to rap. I feel like everybody has a story from their past. Like, I used to do music. I'm the quintessential I used to do music guy. I really am. There's some deep corners of the internet where there's some mixtapes that we won't even speak of. I guarantee you. Yeah. So when I first started my Instagram and my Twitter, it was lyrical fetish because I always felt like I had the gift of gab. I love poetry. I love stuff like that. So I was like, I have a fetish for lyrics, for words, for, stuff like that. So that's kind of the thing now. But now it's been so many years past, I'm like, I gotta change my name. So we'll see. There's gonna be a name change at some point. But for now, that's what it is.
Kari, that's dope, man. We appreciate having you on, man. You're welcome back anytime. And folks, that's a wrap on another episode of the Kicks and Shit Show. New episode comes out every Monday, as you know. You know where to find us at Twitter, at Instagram, Facebook, at Kicks and Shit Show. We're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, all the places. Take care. Peace.